Well, hundreds of European nationals evacuated from Niger landed in Paris and Rome earlier today amid continuing tensions in the country after last week's military coup. The first two French evacuation flights left Niger with more than 350 people on board. France's foreign ministry said that several other nationals also boarded the plane, and according to Italian foreign ministry officials, the evacuees arriving in Rome also included 21 US citizens. As the threat of violence and war continues to loom over Niger, France has had to evacuate its nationals before commercial flights were blocked. Incidentally, France, the United States, Germany and Italy have troops in the country for counter-insurgency and training purposes.
De Français, ceux qui souhaiteraient partir et qui ont exprimé clairement cette intention. Quelques centaines d'Européens aussi, puisque vous savez que la tradition entre pays européens, eh bien, c'est d'être solidaires. Et si d'autres pays européens, ce qui est possible, mettent également des moyens aériens à disposition, eh bien, on prendra, en se répartissant les choses les uns et les autres, ceux qui souhaiteraient partir.
Niger's military junta seized power last week, ousting President Mohamed Bazoum, and later claimed that the toppled government authorized France to carry out strikes at the presidency in a bid to free Bazoum. Niger's junta suspended the constitution and dissolved all formal institutions before declaring General Abdourahmane Tiani as the new head of the state.
Article 1. The Constitution of November 25, 2010 is suspended. The institutions created by the November 25, 2010 Constitution are dissolved. Article 2. A National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland, CNSP, is hereby created, the composition and the functioning of which shall be determined by the decree of the President of the Council.
Last Sunday, West African Regional Bloc, Evacuees, threatened use of force to reinstate Bazoum if the coup leaders didn't do it within a week. Neighboring Mali and Burkina Faso, also ruled by military juntas, warned that they would come to Niger's defense. They say that any outside intervention to reinstate the ousted government would be seen as a declaration of war. For more on this, we are being joined by correspondent Sarah Coates from Paris. Sarah, thanks for talking to us. What's the latest on the evacuation flights?
Yes, hello. Well, look, certainly a lot of relief at France's Charles de Gaulle Airport in the very early hours of this morning, Wednesday morning, with this first evacuation flight touching down after leaving Niger in the wake of this coup in West Africa, which of course happened last week. Now, as it stands, France said there are around 1,200 foreign nationals stationed there in Niger, which of course used to be part of France, a French colony. It separated from France back in 1960, gaining its independence there. We do know that on board this flight there were 262 French nationals. There will be 2 more evacuation flights leaving Niger. We don't know how many people have actually, of French origin, have actually signed up for these flights, but the French government does say that it wants these flights to be concluded within 24 hours of this first one landing very early this morning. Now, a lot of pictures were flooding social media when this first plane touched down. The first pictures, they came from Niger, from the capital there, showing families, many of these families having little babies and young children huddling in the airport waiting for these flights to take off. And then when they landed here in Paris, as I mentioned, at Charles de Gaulle Airport, so much relief, with some of the families then speaking to local media saying it felt more like a hostage situation than a coup.
Right. And also then very briefly, Sarah, it's the first time that the French government has evacuated people out of the Sahel region. Why now?
Yeah, look, you're certainly right. Over the weekend, we saw attacks on the French embassy in the capital. Parts of the embassy attempted to be burnt down, windows smashed. And also, as you mentioned just before, a lot of threats from neighbouring countries, Burkina Faso and Mali, saying any outside intervention will be a declaration of war. So, of course, you know, the French government, it wants its citizens to be safe, saying our priority is the security of the citizens and facilities which cannot cannot be targeted by violence, and that is according to international law. So this is why we're seeing these evacuation flights happening now as this situation there in the West African country really continues to deteriorate.
Right, Sarah, thanks very much indeed for joining us with all the latest developments on that evacuation process taking place.